Hello and welcome back. I hope you haven't missed me too much as we are around 100 days since our last upload, but today we are working on this vintage manual wind Longines watch. I've read a few comments asking me to talk more during my videos, and so today, whilst keeping it minimal, I'll talk through the process of this service. So here I'm just loosening the bezel to make life a little bit easier getting the movement out. We're also going to have to take out the stem and crown, flip it over, remove the bezel, and then poke the movement through the front. With the movement out, we then reset the stem and crown, screw in the setting lever screw, and then remove the hands. With the hands removed, we can then turn our attention to the dial by first loosening the dial feet screws and then popping it off the front. We then remove the dial washer, hour wheel, and cannon pinion. We then turn the movement over and then cut the power. We can then remove the balance, and then remove both the ratchet wheel and crown wheel. With those two wheels removed, we then turn our attention to the screws holding down the drain bridge screws and the barrel bridge screws. Once loosened, we can then remove them, before gently prying them with our screwdrivers and then removing them with our tweezers. And then finally remove the pallet fork. We can then go around and just clean all the jewels and bushes with a little bit of pegwood. This just helps agitate any dried up greases. Makes life a lot easier for the cleaning machine. And then remove the balance jewel from the base plate. We can then turn our attention to the keyless. And then also remove the stem and crown as well as the winding and sliding pinions. We then refit the balance and remove the balance jewel from the balance cock. Next we open up the barrel. Remove the barrel arbor and remove the mainspring. With everything now stripped down, we can go into the cleaning machine. And while that's cleaning, I would like to mention that since my last upload, I have launched a website. If you want to check it out, then I'll leave a link to it at the top of the description. And also, we have started doing live streams on the channel, so be sure to have notifications on to be notified when we go live. Once out of the cleaning machine, we start by removing the balance cock and then assembling the keyless. Making sure to grease everything along the way. We then apply some grease to the stem before putting the winding and sliding pinions on. And then very carefully slotting it into place. And then tightening the setting lever screw. Now we can move on to the barrel, firstly by adding some grease. So this mainspring does have a brace, which means we have to line it up with the hole within the barrel, which means I'm just going to wind this by hand rather than using a barrel wind or mainspring winding tool. Once wound up, we then grease up the arbor. And then grease and fit the cap. Again, making sure to line it up with the brace on the mainspring. We can then grease and fit the barrel. And then the train wheels. And then grease and fit the barrel bridge, and then the train bridge. I decided to remove the escape wheel, as the escape wheel has its own bridge, which makes it a bit easier to have it out of the way, and then set it all up once I know all the other wheels are moving freely. Once everything is moving freely, I can then screw it all down. Before applying a little bit of grease and then the crown wheel. With the crown wheel fitted, we can then fit the ratchet wheel. Next we move on to oiling all the pivots and jewels. Apologies for my hands being in the way. I'm trying to get a few good shots in, but need to get my eyeglass in there as well. with everything running smoothly, we can then fit the pallet fork. And then oil the pallets as well, before then fitting the balance. We can then move on to oiling both of the balance jewels. And then getting them fitted. We can then turn the watch over and fit the minute wheel and cannon pinion. And then placing the hour wheel and dial washer. Making sure the dial feet screws are loose before then fitting the dial, and then tightening the screws. We can then fit the hands. With the dial and hands fitted, we then remove the stem and crown and fit it to a now cleaned case, and then refit the stem and crown. The bezel has been fitted with a new glass, and so we can now fit that to the case, tightening up the setting lever screw, and then fitting the two movement screws. Before fitting the case back. With the watch now together, we can then fit the strap. And there you have it, the complete service of this vintage manual wind Longines watch. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, let me know your thoughts on commentary, as well as doing videos on servicing rather than restoration, as they do take a lot more time to do. And don't forget to have notifications on for any live streams, and I will see you again very soon.